to order. Can we start off with roll call, please?
Council President Perez.
Here.
Councilmember Van.
Here.
Councilmember Benedetti.
Here.
Councilmember O'Halloran.
Here.
Councilmember McIrvin.
Here.
Councilmember Prince.
Here.
And Councilmember Corman.
Here.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all present.
Great, thank you, Jason. Okay, first up, we have a proclamation.
Okay, proclamation. This is LGBTQIA plus Pride Month. Proclamation, whereas the month of June was designated Pride Month to honor the Stonewall riots and is generally recognized as the catalyst of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, and asexual LGBTQIA plus rights movement. And whereas over 40 years ago, the city of Seattle held its first LGBTQIA plus celebration to encourage residents to honor the history of the fight for equality, celebrate the distance come, and recognize how far there is to go. And whereas Washington State and King County have led the nation in protecting the civil rights of our lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, and asexual neighbors, co-workers, friends, and family members. And whereas while further progress is needed, it is important to recognize and celebrate the substantial gains that have been achieved. And whereas the City of Renton, in partnership and communication with residents, businesses, and schools, is dedicated to building an inclusive city with opportunities for all. And whereas lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, and asexual residents contribute to the cultural fabric of our community and donate their time, talent, labor, and financial resources to various community organizations. And whereas in solidarity with the LGBTQIA plus community, the Pride flag will appear at Renton City Hall from June 15th through 21st, 2020. Now therefore, I, Armando Pavoni, Mayor of the City of Renton, do hereby proclaim June 2020 to be LGBTQIA plus Pride Month in the City of Renton, and I encourage all citizens to join me in this special observance and recognize the numerous contributions of LGBTQIA plus individuals in the city, in witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Renton to be affixed this first day of June 2020, signed Armando Pavoni, Mayor of the City of Renton.
Mr. Mayor. Your microphone, Mr. Mayor.
Council President Perez.
I move the proclamation to be adopted as read.
Second. Okay, it's been moved by Council President Perez, seconded by Councilman Corman. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. So with us today we have LGBTQIA plus Board Vice President Sarah Palmer is here to accept the proclamation. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Pavoni. I just wanted to also thank the City Council members for having me here. I am pleased to represent the Renton LGBTQIA plus community, and I wanted to mention that we are gifting the City of Renton a pride flag for it to be raised on the 15th. This particular flag is known as the Philadelphia or Philly flag, and it includes a black and brown stripe with the familiar rainbow that you see on most pride flags. We wanted to acknowledge that we wouldn't be where we are today without the diversity of race, culture, and expression that is within the LGBTQIA plus community. And I wanted to thank Mayor Pavoni for having the second proclamation for the City of Renton for Pride Month. And I wanted to acknowledge that this is in quite a bit efforts of our President, Winter Cashman Crane, who is not online tonight, but I am accepting the proclamation in his stead. Thank you very much, Mayor and Councilman.
Well, thank you, and thank you for the donation of the flag. We appreciate that. Okay, next up we have a public hearing, and we're going to have Paul Hines here to do the presentation.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pavone. So this is a public hearing on an existing moratorium on large residential projects in the Sunset area and waived fees for large residential projects. And just for the record, I am Paul Hintz, a senior planner in the Department of Community and Economic Development. My phone number is 425-430-7436. My email address is phintz, as in zebra, @rentonwa.gov. So by way of background, Emergency Ordinance 5967 was adopted on April 6th of this year. It established a moratorium on the acceptance of large residential projects in the Sunset area, as well as fee waivers for large residential projects. And those projects are deemed to be 150 units or greater. State law requires that a public hearing for emergency ordinances be held within 60 days of adoption.
Oh.
Ordinance 5967 will sunset on October 6, 2020, unless lifted sooner by City Council or extended pursuant to state law. Ordinance 5967 cited the potentially substantial impacts that large residential projects may have as they exceed the scope and scale of typical projects. The existing modifications docket item that would allow city planners to better ensure modifications to approved site plans, mitigate negative impacts where necessary, and ensure consistency with RMC. The significant investments in the Sunset area, as well as the need for affordable and market rate housing, the need to review best practices that support housing opportunities for a wide range of incomes, and the need to assess the impacts of waiving fees for large residential projects. This final slide shows the next steps for tonight, as well as the schedule for the work related to this moratorium. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions from the council? Okay. Julia, do we have any audience comments?
I do have one person signed up for this public hearing at this time. Just a reminder that comments are limited to 5 minutes unless council extends that time. And if you could give your name and spell that last name and your city of residence. And David Ratliff is the first person.
Hello, David Ratliff. That's RATLIFF. Address is Bellevue, Washington, 10900 Northeast 8th Street, Suite 1200, Bellevue, 98004. I'm sorry, Julia, was that everything you needed from me?
Yes.
Okay. Good to go?
Yes.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is David Ratliff. I'm the Vice President at DevCo. We are a for-profit, affordable, and market-rate housing developer based in Bellevue, Washington, the address I just described. DevCo has more than 20 years of experience developing, building, and operating multifamily apartment communities. We have developed and built over 6,000 units here in the Puget Sound region, and we continue to own every property we have built in Puget Sound. Presently, we have 1,000 units under construction, and over the last 5 years, our projects have created thousands of construction jobs and yielded over 50 million in local sales tax, in addition to providing terrific homes for our residents. In addition, our affordable housing units do not rely on public funds outside of the federal low-income housing tax credit program. We are excited by the opportunity to build more housing for Renton to accommodate your double-digit growth you've experienced over the past decade. We want to advance your housing and community development goals. We want to build a project that generates pride and excitement in the Sunset area. We also know that to achieve this outcome, we need to be transparent with you and have strong communications with your staff regarding all aspects of the development plans. That is why we reached out to the city early on and met multiple times with your staff. We shared our development plans and solicited the city's input. We understand the time and work that went into creating the Sunset Area Transformation Plan, and we applaud you for that effort and foresight. We share your vision for this neighborhood transformation, as it is no small decision for us to commit ourselves, our company, and our capital to make such a significant investment. For DevCo's site, Renton also approved the Solera Master Plan. That adopted city plan was the basis from which we sought to develop our project. Our objective in reaching out early was so that we could gather your feedback, make adjustments, so that we could proceed together as partners. For example, when the city said it desired mixed income development, we proposed to make that change, even though such a revision was quite consequential to our project. We recently wrote a letter to the city setting forth our intentions with respect to the ratio of affordable and market rate housing that we desire for the multifamily portion of the project. That was 50-50. That letter matched the city's goals, which were articulated to us during our first meeting with the planning and economic development staff. That's why we were very surprised and frankly disappointed that the city, after all our engagement and outreach, and without any notice adopted this moratorium, especially during this COVID-19 pandemic. And now that we have heard, based on the schedule announced at the end of last week, there will be new land use regulations impacting our property that will be rushed through the Planning Commission and Council, despite the fact that no actual legislation draft is even publicly available. As a result of the moratorium, we have had to incur added legal expense to file an appeal to preserve our legal rights regarding the property, which was purchased with entitlements in place. While we disagree with the city's lack of transparency, rushed litigation timelines, and heavy-handed moratorium approach, our main objective has not changed, and that is to work with the city to move forward on developing a great mixed-income housing community to revitalize the Sunset area. We believe that a mixed-income project would be a win-win for the city and us as a developer. The Sunset neighborhood would finally see activity and revitalization on this 11-acre site that has stood abandoned for years. Here are examples of 3 developments that DevCo has recently undertaken. One of these projects is market rate and 2 of them are affordable. I will leave it to you to determine which is which. At Solera, the housing types will include for-sale townhouses, market rate, and affordable apartments targeted to meet the needs of the greater Renton Highlands area. In addition, Solera will provide ground-level retail primarily along Sunset Boulevard and add a mix of housing types to the neighborhood. We are well aware of the several beloved tenants at the Highland Shopping Center and welcome their return to our development.
Sir, you're down to 1 minute time.
Here are pictures of the existing Highland Shopping Center, which the moratorium prevents from being redeveloped. We understand that the vacated retail center has had a disproportionate demand on the Renton Police and Fire Departments, so we look forward to gaining approval to proceed with the development plans as early as possible. In fact, I want to close with an open invitation to the mayor and council members to visit the site if you haven't recently. We are confident that our proposed project, once completed, will help revitalize the Sunset neighborhood and attract private investment while delivering much-needed housing to the city of Renton. We look forward to being a long-term owner, operator, and neighbor, and member of this community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Julie, do we have anybody else signed up for audience comment?
I don't have anyone else signed up for audience comment at this time. Is there anyone else here to speak only on behalf of the public hearing for the moratorium on large residential projects within the Sunset area? If so, please raise your hand.
Okay, seeing none, what's the wish of the council?
Close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by President Perez and seconded by Council Member Prince that we move the public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you, David, for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Mayor.
Let's see here. Next up is soliciting public input for the 2021-2022 budget. Jan Hahn, please.
Thank you, Mayor Pavoni. The city is required to hold public hearings prior to the adoption of the biennial budget and the setting of the property tax levy for the coming year. This is the first of 3 public hearings. The second is scheduled for October. The third and final hearing is scheduled for November 2nd. This first public hearing is an opportunity for stakeholders to provide input prior to the development of the 2021-2022 biennial budget. This public hearing has been appropriately noticed. Additional detail regarding the city's current budget and the budget process can be found on the city's website. So with that, Mayor Pavoni, I will turn it back over to you for the public hearing.
Okay, thank you. Council, do you have any questions at this time? Okay, Julia, do we have any audience comments?
I don't have anyone currently signed up for audience comment at this time. Is there anyone in the audience that wants to speak on behalf of the public hearing for the budget? Seeing none. Jason, do you have anyone on the phone?
Hello, is there anybody on the telephone wishing to speak on the budget hearing. I hear no one.
Okay, thank you. What's the wish of the council?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilmember Prince.
move we close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Prince and seconded by Councilmember O'Halloran that we move the public hearing. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Next up, we are on to audience comments.
Administration report.
No, next up, we're on administrative report. Sorry.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Council.
did we do a roll call?
Yes, you were here.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Jason, administrative report, please.
Okay, admin report. The Renton community is invited to help choose the new play equipment for the Coulon Park Playground. A survey showing images of the two options will be shared on the city's social media channels, website, and our Renton weekly newsletter to gather community input. The survey will launch June 2nd and will be available for 2 weeks. As part of the 2019 through 2021 state budget process, the City of Renton was awarded a direct legislative appropriation grant for the full cost of the play equipment replacement. Construction is anticipated for this fall and winter. And secondly, the Renton Farmers Market will open for its 19th season on Tuesday, June 2nd. This year's theme is Food is Essential. While COVID-19 won't allow us to have the same market as past years, you will still find the freshest Washington-grown produce and flowers from your favorite vendors. This year's market has been designed as a quick in-and-out destination for essential food shopping while following the COVID-19 regulations established by Public Health, Seattle and King County. You'll enter and exit the market through separate designated areas. Market staff will monitor the number of shoppers inside to ensure proper social distancing. We're asking, if possible, that you consider sending only one shopper to the market and come with a list. This will allow a maximum number of people to enjoy the market. Shoppers will also be asked to wear face coverings to adhere to the public health directive that took effect earlier this month. These steps are vital to help ensure the market remains safe for everyone. Please look for the signs, and if you have questions, market staff will be happy to help. The market will be held every Tuesday through September 29th from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. in Gateway Park, just west of its usual Piazza Park location. Free 2-hour parking is available in the nearby City Center garage, and the Renton Transit Center is 1 block away. That is all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Jason. Okay, next we will open the remote audience comment period. It remains the strong intent of the city to have public comment regularly included on our agenda. However, the city reserves the right to eliminate or end these public comment periods and/or remove anyone from the meeting at any point if we deem the system is being abused or is no longer suitable to allowing the city to conduct its necessary business. Each speaker will be given 5 minutes to speak. You'll be called upon by Julia Madzigian, Council Liaison. Ms. Madzigian will call the speaker's name and unmute the appropriate microphone, which will send and automatically prompt the speaker to speak. You have been unmuted. This is the speaker's cue that it's their turn to speak. Please begin your comments by stating your name, city of residence, and the topic you're addressing. Speakers should be able to see a timer near the city clerk. When the time turns from green to yellow, please wrap up your comments. Thank you. Ms. Madzigian.
Do you have anybody who'd like to speak to the city council this evening? Please raise your hand. I see no one, Mr. Mayor.
Well, thank you. I was expecting more our first day back with audience comments, but okay. Next up is consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Council President Perez.
I move that the council concur with the consent agenda as published.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Council President Perez and seconded by Council Member Corman that the council concur with the consent agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed, nay. Okay, motion carries. Next up is unfinished business. Council President Perez.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Van.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Benedetti.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember O'Halloran.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember McGurven.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Prince.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
That's untrue, Mr. Prince.
Oh, you're right. Finance Committee does have a committee report. I'm sorry.
Yes, so we have two Finance Committee reports. The first is regarding claims and payroll vouchers. The Finance Committee approves the following payments. Accounts payable, total payment of $4,808,297.66 for vouchers and payroll benefit withholding vouchers and one wire transfer. And then payroll, a total payment of $1,464,466.57 for payroll vouchers that include 580 direct deposits. This is for the I believe it's the May 15th through May 30th pay period. Or it could be the April 16th through the April 30th pay period. Kidder Matthew vouchers totaling $41,597.31, and the municipal court vouchers, which totaled $4,290. That is all.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Prince.
I move that council concur in the Finance Committee report.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Prince, seconded by Councilmember Van, that the council concur with the committee report. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, aye.
Okay, I have one more.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I have one more Finance Committee report. This is regarding a water quality grant from the Department of Ecology. The Finance Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to execute the Water Quality Grant Agreement, WQC 2020 Renton 00214, with the Department of Ecology to accept $277,500 in grant funds for the Burnett Avenue South and Williams Avenue South Water Quality Retrofit Project.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Prince.
I move that council concur in the Finance Committee report.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Prince, seconded by Councilmember Van, that the council concur with the Finance Committee report. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Thank you. Councilmember Foreman.
Business, Mr. Mayor.
Perfect. Okay, legislation, we have one resolution and one ordinance.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Council President Perez.
I move to suspend the rules and add the emergency ordinance to the agenda.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Perez and seconded by Councilmember Corman that we move to suspend the rules and add an ordinance to the agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor?
Let me finish the vote here. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Yes, Councilmember Van.
Oh, I think I was a little ahead of myself. Yes, I just wanted to have some discussion in regarding to, I agree with my colleagues, and that with the ordinance, I'd like to make a motion to amend.
I think we should read the ordinance first.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was just ahead of myself, so.
Okay. So we have, this ordinance is regarding a public emergency. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, declaring and establishing a public emergency, imposing penalties for violations of orders issued by the mayor in a civil emergency, providing for severability, and establishing an immediate effective date.
Councilmember Van.
Yes. Yes, sorry, it's been a lot the last few days, last few weeks.
Indeed.
In regarding to the date of the because okay, I just had a very moment. We were talking about the expiration date. If I can have that date again.
One moment.
Jason.
Yeah, one moment, please. It says this ordinance shall sunset or expire on October 31st, 2020.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Jason. And I appreciate you and the city and the law enforcement, our chief, in protecting our city, because certainly right now is time for us to reflect on the current situation and how we go about to keep our residents safe and everyone safe who are touring our city. I have a motion to, I motion to amend the sunset/expiration date to August 31st, 2020.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Van, seconded by Council President Perez, that we amend the sunset expiration date of the ordinance to August 30th. All in
30th.
favor signify by saying aye.
Mr. Mayor,
Aye.
can we call for discussion?
We can. Let me back up. Yes. Councilmember O'Halloran.
Thank you. Councilmember Van, can you just provide us your reasoning behind moving it to August 31st rather than, say, September or midway between the two dates?
Yes, and I had, given that we are a legislative branch and that I think as we work collaboratively with the mayor and everyone else to give the opportunities for us to revisit the issue. I've spoken to our city attorney as well, and that I think that through this process is not necessarily it's a hard deadline, but certainly it is a time and opportunity for us to reflect and opportunities to extend if necessary.
Thank you.
Can I?
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to amend the ordinance ending date to August 31st. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Opposed? Nay? Okay, very good. Now what's the wish of the council on the ordinance?
I moved that the council concur with approve the ordinance that was just read.
For
Can you
second,
help me, Jason?
for
Yeah.
second reading.
Adopt.
Adopt, I'm sorry.
As amended.
Amended. It's all of us, we move the motion. Is that okay,
So,
Jason, or have to repeat
Can
the whole thing?
can I restate, you wish to adopt the ordinance as amended? Is that correct?
As amended,
Yes.
yes.
Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Council President Perez, seconded by Council Member O'Halloran, that we adopt the ordinance with the new sunset date of August 31st. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Mr. Mayor,
Opposed, nay. Yes,
may we have a roll call vote, sir?
we can do that too, absolutely. Roll call, please.
Council President Perez,
And I apologize for being not saying it correctly. Aye.
okay, Councilmember Van,
Aye.
Councilmember Benedetti,
No apologies necessary, Council President. Aye.
Councilmember O'Halloran,
See what a week off gets you? Aye.
Councilmember McGurven,
Aye.
Councilmember Prince,
Aye.
and Councilmember Corman.
Aye.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all ayes.
Great, thank you, Jason. Next up is legislation. We have one resolution and one ordinance for second reading.
Okay, so the resolution is regarding a grant that was, council had actually approved on the floor at the last meeting. The resolution was not adopted at that time. So it is a resolution of the City of Renton, Washington, authorizing the submission of an application for grant funding assistance for Land and Water Conservation Fund, LWCF, projects to the Recreation and Conservation Funding Board as approved in Title 54, USC Section 200305, 79A.25 RCW, WAC 286, and other applicable authorities for the Jean Coulon Memorial Beach Park Trestle Bridge Replacement Project.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilmember Prince.
I move the resolution be adopted as read.
Second.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Prince, seconded by Councilmember Corman, that the resolution be adopted as read. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Okay, motion carries.
Okay, sir, so this ordinance is for first reading and then second and final reading and adoption. And this is regarding the volunteer separation incentive program as council was briefed on at the committee of the whole. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, establishing a voluntary separation incentive program, providing for severability, and establishing an effective date.
Mr. Mayor,
Council President Perez.
I move the ordinance be adopted as read and move to second reading.
Second.
In advance to second reading, I'm sorry. Tonight.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Perez and seconded by Councilmember O'Halloran that the ordinance be moved to second and final reading tonight. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Okay, ordinance passes.
Oh, I've got to read it one more time, sir. So an ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, establishing a voluntary separation incentive program, providing for severability, and establishing an effective date.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes. Councilmember Corman.
I move adoption or approval of the ordinance.
Second.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Corman, seconded by Councilmember McGurven that the ordinance be adopted as read. This requires a roll call.
Okay, Council President Perez.
Aye.
Councilmember Van.
Aye.
Councilmember Benedetti.
Aye.
Councilmember O'Halloran.
Aye.
Councilmember McGurven.
Aye.
Councilmember Prince.
Aye.
And Councilmember Corman.
Aye.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all ayes.
Okay, thank you. Ordinance passes. Next up is new business. Council President Perez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Committee of the Whole will be taking place via video conference on Monday, June 8, 2020 at 5:45 p.m. We have one item on the agenda, Cedar Hills Landfill Support Service Facility update. And also we'd like to announce that the City Council meeting will be via conference also on Monday, June 8, 2020 at 7 p.m. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Van.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know I'm sorry again for just being all over the place. In light of the situations that's happening across the nation, I think that for us to take a moment and reflect, and also in light of that and the discussion I had at council retreat, I am asking that we refer that. I'm sorry, I'm going to try not to get emotional. I motion to have the city draft a resolution for council to see at the next meeting, a resolution to commit to end structural racism and achieve racial equity. I think this is a very touchy subject, but I think as politicians, as elected leaders, these are issues just like water, land use issues that we all need to discuss about. And being an inclusive city that we are, and Mr. Mayor, I highly respect you and for the statement you and the chief has put out. But certainly in light of the death of Mr. George Floyd, I want to let our city, our residents, our constituents who we represent know that we are in solidarity and that we do not accept police brutality. So in short, I motion to refer the matter of drafting a resolution to commit to end structural racism and achieve racial equity, similar to the city of Evanston of Illinois.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Van, seconded by Councilmember McGurven, that the issue of a resolution to end structural racism be referred to administration. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Or discussion?
Okay, open for
An opportunity for discussion.
Yes, absolutely. My apologies. Is there somebody that would like to discuss this topic this time?
I have
Mr. Mayor? Oh, please. Angie, please, you're first.
No, that's okay. I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to ask Councilmember Van, what specifically would you like to see, or what is your idea of what this ordinance will include? Those are very large topics, and so it seems to me without something, specific that we are asking for, that we want to, that we don't want to pay lip service to these issues. We want something specifically to be an outcome. And so what is your hoped for outcome in a resolution of this sort?
Yes, and this resolution had from the city of Evanston was brought up in council retreat on February, but in light of everything, really for us to refer, so it is something similar to the city of Evanston, to refer to commit to end structural racism, end structural racism and achieve racial equity, in that we reject police brutality. And I know that you don't have the paper in front of you, and so we have to motion for the city to do a draft, and then we have to vote the draft later. So there could be changes to that per council colleagues' recommendation.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilmember O'Halloran.
I'd actually like to learn a little bit more about this, and I think I would like to move that we refer the matter to the Public Safety Committee for further discussion and bringing back a recommendation.
Take one.
Jason, they're ruling on that. We're on the discussion on a vote right now, and we haven't. Oh, there we go. Shane.
Shane could jump.
I would. So we have a motion on the floor. The motion, there should either be a vote on the motion that's on the floor or a motion to amend the motion that's on the floor.
Correct.
But not two parallel motions on the floor. Does that make sense?
I would like to move that we amend the motion to refer the issue to the Public Safety Committee for further exploration.
Second.
Okay. It's been moved by Councilmember O'Halloran, seconded by Councilmember Perez, that we amend the original motion to refer to the administration to now refer it to public safety, and that is a resolution around the idea of ending structural racism. All in favor signify.
Mr. Mayor, do we have discussion?
More discussion. Okay. Yes. More discussion. Who's first?
I cede to Councilmember Van first.
Okay, Councilmember Van.
Yes. I guess I guess I needed more information why we're moving it to committee. I understand that we don't want to rush anything like we do, but certainly this was something that I had mentioned at council retreat, and but at the same time, I know we have many other things during COVID-19 to deal with and handle. I think, but we are referring to the matter, the resolution commitment to end structural racism and achieve racial equity is that's similar to the city of Evanston. So then the city, I think, can look at, the administration can look at and see what is necessary and fitting for this case, similar to the
the other motions that I've made in the past, that we use other cities as examples and that would help our city.
Councilmember Benedetti.
Yes, as the chair of the Public Safety Committee, I want to be clear as to which part of this is being referred as a public safety issue. Is it the police brutality issue? Because ending structural racism is a much broader topic than I would say is specifically something that would be necessarily tackled under the auspices of that committee. There's a lot to that particular topic. Is the idea that it would be going to public safety as a to speak strictly to the police brutality piece, or I'm just trying to understand a little better as to the referral.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to clarify. The way I understand it, Councilmember Van is raising this in light of the recent police brutality, and that's why I felt that it should go to public safety.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilmember McGurban.
Yes, thank you. And I apologize. I don't know if it's just my feed or if it's everyone else's, but I seem to be on a little bit of a lag from time to time. So if I've been responding late, that is why. So apologies for that. I seconded the motion, so I feel it appropriate to speak on it, or the original motion, I should say. And I did so because I feel like what Councilmember Van is asking is very much in line with the values we've expressed in our city many, many times. I think if nothing else, recent events do prompt us to reaffirm those or restate them or be, super explicit. And that's going to mean having hard conversations. And I don't think there's anyone in here who's unwilling to have that conversation. I think this is coming down to more of a timing or where it should go sort of issue. We're a little wary of just sending it to a committee because I think this is a conversation maybe that all council members should be part of. So if it comes back to whether it be COW or the council meeting as a whole, maybe that would be a better means. Or if we did have, I don't want to just send it to some other work group. I do agree. I want to make sure we get it right. I think there has to be some amount of immediacy and urgency. I don't think there's a moment that we're in right now, and I don't want to just punt the issue. So I think we have to be intentional, and I think we can do that. So I think we're just disagreeing about the mechanism, and I think we'll all get a chance to weigh in on what we want to say and make sure that we are all in agreement with what we're going to say as a council. I think that much is clear, but I think there's a path forward. So I would resist sending it, I guess, to Public Safety Committee, because I do agree with Councilmember Benedetti that it's a much broader issue.
So are you recommending a new motion to move it to committee of the whole then?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, may I speak on behalf of the discussion that is already
Yes, absolutely.
Before we move to another motion?
Yes.
I am okay with referring this to administration instead of committee. I don't have any problems. What I have a problem is to specifically refer a resolution that is already written by another city. I think what Councilman Kervin is bringing to the table is different, which is let's have a more discussion what else we can do, what should we do as a city. So let's send it just to the administration so they can come back to us. Not much like, oh, we want this resolution and that's what we're referring. So that's my hesitation. That's the reason why I thought if we are talking just about policing, yes, it should go to public safety, so that way the committee can discuss it. But if it's a issue about that, how can we be more inclusive and have a better equity lens on the city of Renton? I will rather to refer to administration to come back to us with that, but not a resolution.
Yes, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilmember Van.
Yes, thank you, Madam President, and thank you, colleagues. Yes, I did a referral because I think there was some confusion in past motion when I made and tried to explain myself, and maybe I'm not clear. And so the last time I did was the referral to the city of Redmond, similar. So I'm really not asking us to take a model from somewhere and just adopt it and adapt it to our city. But certainly it is something that could be an example, and it is similar. So it's up to the administration. I know that, and I trust our administration with their work and these, with us having that inclusive and equity lens. But certainly this is really more than inclusion. We are making a commitment to end structural racism because that has harmed our communities of color, especially Black and Brown and Indigenous community. And so that's really what it is.
Any further discussion at this point?
Can I make a procedural note?
Yes.
There's been two motions.
Yeah.
The main motion, a motion to amend. The next vote that you take will just be on the motion to amend. It will either pass or fail. If it passes, that does not mean that the motion as amended passes. You still have to vote on the motion as amended after that. Or if it fails, that doesn't mean there can be another motion to amend to refer it to committee if you'd like.
So we have to take a vote on
to a committee of the whole. Sorry. So take a motion on take a vote on the motion to refer it to public safety. That's the most recent motion that we have on the floor. I believe it was Councilmember O'Halloran that moved to move it to public safety committee.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilmember O'Halloran.
So, Shane, can I change my motion to move the amendment to the committee of the whole?
Yes. I mean, the reality is under Robert's rules, you're not supposed to make another amendment once there's an amendment on the floor. But
okay.
I think if everybody understands what the motion is, really, you guys aren't bound that closely to it. I'm just trying to help facilitate so the record is clear as to what you're doing. So it would be cleaner just to take the vote and then move on to another motion.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I will feel more comfortable if instead of refer it to any committee, if we just refer it to administration. So when administration is ready, they bring it to us and then we schedule it maybe in committee of the whole.
Did you want to make an amendment then?
Isn't the same amendment of Valerie?
Mr. Mayor? Mr. Mayor?
Councilmember Gorman.
I think Councilmember O'Halloran could withdraw the motion if she chose.
Withdrawn.
Does that need to be voted on?
Hearing no objection, no.
Hearing no objection. Okay.
And then she'd be free to make a different amendment.
We're back to square one where we're sending it to the administration in the original motion.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilmember Benedetti.
As I understood the original proposal, it was to have the administration come back within a week with this. Is this something is that a timeline that is at all possible?
Without talking to staff, I'd hate to make commitments like that. So I understand the importance and the timeliness of this, but we're also dealing with a lot right now. So,
and I'd also just like to clarify whether the intent is for it to come back on a consent calendar where we would normally have something like that for adoption, or whether it would be going to a committee of the whole or somewhere else for a discussion of the council. Just make sure that's clear. So staff knows where to bring it to.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, and thank you, Councilmember Benedetti. Perhaps we can, if I would like to clarify, if my intention is to bring it back to the regular council meeting, but I know the time, so perhaps in 2 weeks, would that be something that we would be agreeing to?
Mr. Mayor?
I guess my motion is motion for resolution to commit to end structural racism and achieve racial equity, a draft of it to be available in 2 weeks.
Okay, Council President Perez.
I thought that we were going to refer it to the administration and come back to a committee, but I understand that the motion right now is to refer a resolution and bring back a resolution in 2 weeks for the council approval. I would like to have time to actually discuss among council members what are the next actions, the next steps. But if it's a resolution, then the discussion will gonna be on the floor, and I don't have any problems with that. It is a resolution.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilmember Prince.
This is a big issue.
Yes, sir.
And I don't think that we're doing it justice by trying to bring it back and having a conversation in the council meeting in 2 weeks. I think this is something that should go to committee of the whole, so we can have a conversation about it at committee of the whole. Because I don't, it's too big of an issue to have it come, and then we can always bring it to council that night. But I think it's important for it to go to the committee of the whole, so we can have a conversation about it before we're talking about it on the floor, and we're engaging in the elongated process we've engaged in tonight.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So, Mr. Mayor, based on the feedback from my colleague, and I appreciate that, we can certainly refer it to what I hear, if I hear correctly from Madam President, is referring it to committee of the whole after it's been drafted?
You're referring it to council, to administration, and then the administration will bring it to committee of the whole.
Okay.
Yeah.
Second?
Okay, are we any other discussion before we take a vote? And I'll try and summarize this. Okay, seeing no other discussion, there's a motion on the floor right now to refer for a resolution to end structural racism to the administration to then bring back to committee of the whole. Within the next 2 weeks.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. It's resolution to commit to end structural racism and achieve racial equity.
I will make sure that's captured in the minutes,
Okay.
Councilmember Van.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Nay? Okay. Thank you very much. And now, where am I at? Councilmember Benedetti.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember O'Halloran.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Councilmember Prince.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the Finance Committee will meet on Monday, June 8th at 3:30 p.m. Via video conference. We have 3 items on the agenda: vouchers, penny loft sign variance fee waiver request, and farmers market fee waiver request. And that's all.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Corman.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a Planning and Development Committee meeting to announce for 4:30 p.m. on June 8th. That's a video conference. There's 5 items on the agenda: 2020 Comprehensive Plan Amendments, State Sales Tax Credit for Affordable Housing, docket number 14, docket number 15, and emerging issues in CED. And that's all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. At this point, what's the wish of the council?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Council President Perez.
I move that the council recess to an executive session for 45 minutes to discuss matter related to potential litigation pursuant to RCW 4230-110, subsection 1I. We will not be taking a final action at this meeting, and we will adjourn when the executive session ends.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Council President Perez and seconded by Council Member Corman that we move to executive session for 45 minutes. No action will be taken. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Okay, we're off to executive session. See you in a minute.